Peace, everybody. We having a show tonight, and we have ATUN-RE just called in, and we're going ahead and go get the show started. How you doing today, Ron?
What's happening? Let me say this. I send my love to the entire family, first and foremost. I want to say thank you, everybody, for listening. And tonight we have a lot to say. And everything that needed to be said, for quite some time now, has not been said in its totality. This shadow hour, we intend to dot every I and cross every T. The reason why we will not be taking phone calls this shadow hour is because we would like our family, of whom you all in our listening audience are, to hear every word so that you can know beyond doubt and to know complete. These are sacred days. And I want you all to know that in the end there shall be only laughter. The days in which the spiritual warrior now stands and without question will survive. Everyone knows that indeed in the book of Revelation it speaks in terms of a war being fought in between our Father, who is Michael himself, and or Lucifer and his team of the 200 fallen, whose names are clearly written, spoken about again and again and again throughout many different books that our Father has written in the holy tablets. The story is told, yet not told. And the reason being is because our Father received an order, which was to keep the secret sacred. And the question then becomes, how do you keep the secret sacred if indeed you tell it all? Because then it is no longer secret. And at that moment and at that very hour, it is no longer sacred because everyone knows. And the holy tablets were put out at a time in which many stood and or sat in a position where that which should be known was not. And you might say, well, what was the reason? Well, it's the same reason by which Baba would often say, I come giving you what you want, so you would be prepared to receive what it is I come to give. For that which is not must be presented first in order for that which is to be and exist forevermore. So much has happened. I mean, really, let's look at it. Let's see it for what it is. Since May 8th of 2002, a day I'm sure that each and every one of us will remember, just as well as we remember ATUN-RE and his greatness, which none can deny, and or mute out, and or stand against, and or attempt to bring stain to his character. Flawless, excellence, with no means by which any word can describe. Excellence at its finest. All those who have bore witness, indeed, do you think for 1 minute you have for absolutely no reason? Really, no one, and I repeat, no one bears witness to something that great without there being a divine reason and or great reason in place by which any of it occurs. And we all have our stories, each a personal, to each being who has, lived through and has opportunity to describe what it is they may have seen, experienced, and or come to know. We all sit the seats we sit. And some are more prepared than others. Some don't mean nothing. They don't understand this. They look at it as if, it's some sort of game and or something to play with or something that they can fake their way through. And then there are many of you who do not fake at all, extremely sincere, knowing that every bit of what is occurring is real. Now, truly, we all know that we live in a three-dimensional world. Everything is governed by that while in the physical body. There's none who can escape it. The number 3 governs its vibration. It rings. This is every bit of the 3rd time that you all have heard my voice on this station. Tonight, certain things complete themselves. And I want you all to know that we're going to walk. We're not going to run. Because this isn't a race and or competition. We're a family. And don't fool yourselves. This is family business. So, with that, the OSOICE will start. And we'll go ahead on and from here, speak it out. Speak it out loud. Tell, the parts that we here at OSOICE may think that you all just do not know and or have come into a position by which you can find out. Many things have been posted on the net. I mean, you got 214 million people reading, listening, some understanding, some don't. Many have many questions. Many have, gripes. Many have misconception. And I'm going to say it right tonight. No, I'm not here to replace my father. No one can do that. No one. Let me tell you this. ATUN-RE is who he is. And I worship my father because my father is God. But guess who my father worships? Yeah, many don't know. He worships me. You want to know why? Because he says, all the things I see him do, I shall do even greater. I'm saying, no, can't nobody, come after that. He said, you will. I said, man. He said, no, it's a fact. He said, you want to argue with me? I said, no. He said, you ought to know better. I said, I do. He said, because I raised you to be a God, and by God, that's what you're going to do. And everything you see me do, you shall do even better. I said, man, come on. He says to me, you want to know why? I said, yes. He said, because I said so. Which is what any father would want for his son with whom he is well pleased. Now, there's many in this nation that will say, wait. Mark Brady is not Dr. York's son. Well, let me tell you something. All y'all who say this, y'all have no clue that indeed ATUN-RE has a power that allows him to do what he wants to. I mean, how could you be God if you didn't? God does anything he so sees fit. And you all can sit back, y'all can say whatever you want, think it how you may, but truth is true. And how many times has he said that? He came saying, truth is true. That's a fact. And I came saying, right is right and wrong is wrong. Well, tonight, I say something else. I say, enough is enough. It's time to do what we have to do. Do not fool yourselves. I'm here to do one thing and one thing only. That is to get Baba out, and then getting him out to bring him home to you, to us as a family, because no one makes it to the Father except by way of me. Meaning y'all can say what you want. No one will be able to get him out. No one but me. And the reason being is because he has been put there by a particular type of power that many of y'all know absolutely nothing about. They're called the Illuminati. They call themselves the Illuminated Ones, declaring themselves the most intelligent beings on the planet and or powerful. And, they claim to be honorable when indeed honor they know absolutely nothing about. In a real way, I mean, what I say here to you all tonight is very, very, very true. If indeed the Illuminati offered Ali the same thing they offered me, I'm quite sure Ali would not be nowhere around. He'd be in some mansion somewhere, driving a Lamborghini, trying to be very, very invisible. Because what they said to me, and it's very true, they said, you will enjoy tremendous wealth. And you will have diplomatic immunity without having to file any type of sovereignty papers. All you have to do is enter apprentice. And from there, you will skip over being a worshipful master, and we will take you right to being a grand potentate of the entire West Coast region, meaning every Freemason on the entire West Coast will have to answer to you. I said, oh, really? They said, yes. I said, that's all I have to do? They said, no, there's one more thing. You must separate yourself from the darkness. That is our only requirement. I said, the darkness? And immediately I started to think, no one can do that. Because each of us carry darkness around everywhere we go. All you have to do is close your eyes. That's a fact. Because when you close your eyes, the lights are not on. In a real way, you don't see too much. But that's the state you sleep in. That's the state you was in the womb. That state is indeed peaceful. In it exists the absence of confusion. The chaos and confusion did not start until the light came on. And in this, these very same beings declared white light to be good and darkness to be evil. And this is what they say to you and I have been saying, and, that spell has been broken because everybody knows now, through the domino effect, like, do men know? No, but now they do. Why? Because of ATUN-RE, and now because of me, and what is about to become true, because it will also be because of you. You sit with a particular type of superior intelligence. And in this, there's nothing that can deny. But intelligent can become intelligently stupid. Intellectually, played out the ballpark. when intelligence is not tempered by way of compassion and just out-and-out common sense and or sense that can be considered good. Because there's a lot of nonsense on the planet, and I'm sure all of you all will agree, because many people talk and don't think about nothing they say until they say it and it's complete. But we all have to think before we talk. Why? Because words carry power. And the things you say affect people. And I don't care what you say. Many of our people have problems. So a Nubian may not be in the nation, but are indeed a person of color and or an etheric light being who carries color, housed in a physical shell just like you and me. And let me tell you, the Illuminati do not carry that same vibrational frequency, because vibration is what creates color. You're talking about density. We're not talking about ether now. You see, when Baba told you all about 6 ether through 9, he was only preparing you all to learn about densities. You see, densities are determined by way of vibration. When you say, density or dense, you're talking about something solid, but the more dense, the more solid, but you're also talking about something stupid. Because when you say dense, that's what dense also means. Like that's where they get the word dunce from. You see? And dunce sounds a whole lot like stunt and or stunted. And there's many, many beings who have become stunted in their growth. You can be however old and just 4 or 5 inside, or maybe even 6 or 7, but, very much of what can be considered to be a grown man and or a grown woman that don't have it all put together. Because somewhere in their lives, certain things got turned off. And that's where they sit, and that's where they got stuck. And you can say what you want. I'm telling you it's real. It's all around you. Just look around. Because tonight, the OSOICE says, not truth is truth. We say, enough is enough. Because let me tell you something, all every one of you have sat back and bore witness to the information which none can deny and or mute out. You want to sit back and think, let me say something. If any of y'all think that we have the ability and or power to fabricate something as intricately put together as this, you all are not fools. You all are damn fools. Because if indeed we did it, then that means it can be done. And if it can be done, then that means you can do it. And what I say to you all as well, then produce the likeness thereof. Y'all do it. You all have read the Ishtar Files. You all have read everything that the OSOICE has put out. And let me tell you something. We are the only ones bringing a new, keyword, new information. Information divine, having the ability to once again put you all back in formation, because you all are out of line, out of order. And in this, you all have forgotten how to govern yourselves. And it's bad. It's very bad. And let me tell you something. Scab Baba pissed and or extremely disappointed. You would be too if you worked in this life alone 30 plus years looking for a day that you would see something come about that would bring your tears, and those tears would not be, cried through pain, but cried through joy. Shit. Excuse me. Excuse my French and or dialect. Because many of y'all going to say, "Whoa, he has such a dirty mouth." Well, let me tell you something. Back in Tamaray, this is how we spoke, and they were not called curse words, They were called blessed words. Why? Because they expressed the most. And the only reason, the Amorite and or Canaanite and or European doesn't like the fact and call them curse words is because they can't talk like us. You ever listen to Amorite cuss? It's a joke. They have no rhythm. And besides, they line themselves up with a being whose name is Sin, and Easter, Ashtar Command, and his, their wife. And, let me tell you, Ishtar is nothing compared to Mother Hubbard. If we don't get that ether off the planet, y'all in trouble, because that net from which it came is on its way. Read the tablet. Don't believe me. And I would say, check it out, but that's Baba's. Even though Baba and I are one, I got something else I say. Because I ain't asked to be here. I ain't asked for the job. Let me tell you. I was asked to come. And that's how I earned the name Quadasin. Why? Because you all in your book of Revelations have a book that's called the Book of Life. And in the Quran, it says on Yomo Akhren, Yomo Qiyam. And then they mention another thing called Yomo Din. Oh, that Yomo Akhren is the last day. Yomo Qiyam is the day of standing. And Yomo Din is the day of judgment. And in that, we will all be front and center. Trust me. And then it goes on to say that the book shall be open. You have many things that will occur. Ooh, what a day it will be. And the books are open for all eyes to see. And it says that your own hands and feet will bear witness against you. What does that mean? Well, you think your feet is going to grow a mouth? No, that's deformity. You see? No. Because everything you've done will be seen by the entire family, who will all be there. And those who have done right will have nothing to fear. Those who have done wrong, their eyes will be cast downward, because they know what they've done. And everybody got some skeletons in the closet. Don't tell me you don't, because we all do. Anybody who says they don't, slap upside the head because they're lying. Well, it's true. Your own feet and hands will bear witness against you, meaning the book of life is a thing called the Akashic Record, which is why Baba came out with a book called Let's Set the Record Straight. And notice, it was called Let's. It wasn't called, I'm going to, or, I will. He didn't say, he didn't include just himself. He said, let's. Meaning, there's something that all of us, as a royal family of mind, will participate in, because indeed it was all of them who messed it up. Or should I say, made the record crooked, and caused you all to see it as you now do and have seen. Well, again, the book of life. The question then becomes, well, how did it come to be? Well, let me tell you, ether, of which each and every one of you are. You all are not male or female, because in the etheric realm there is no such thing as boy or girl, because you don't have hair, lips, nose, a vagina, or a penis. You are an ectoplasmatic life form, a light being, etheric light being, who's housed in a physical shell. Either you are vibrating on a 6 density, producing nothing but a pure white light, and or you are vibrating up to a 9 density that, will produce every color of the rainbow. Some vibrate only up to a 7 and can only produce indigo. Some produce, vibrate up to 8 density and will produce 2 more colors, purple, green and purple. And then on up, and you get the other colors of the rainbow, 7 in number. 7 is the number of perfection. It vibrates and rings in a way by which cannot be denied. Every time you see it, come in contact with it, it says something is perfect. Perfect in every way, to the point that most cannot describe. And then there are other numbers that play a part. Many you know about, many you don't. Because, listen, Anu, numerology, and numerology, you all are about to be introduced to, that tells everything. Why? Because numbers are very much a part of your life. You know what I mean? You have your telephone number. You have your Social Security number. Numbers saturate your life. And let me tell you this. There's a language that only very few are privileged to be able to understand, in so much as that how to translate it. It's only given to a chosen few. That numbers play a part. That's another story, though. Right now, we're talking about the book. We're talking about your heart. See, because the book of life, it records everything. Why? Because ether, of which you are an etheric being, leaves a stain. Meaning, every time you do whatever you do, right there in that spot, there's a stain and or image of what you just did. But not only is the image there, but so also does it record your intent. Meaning, the part of your little mind that is saying, you know, I'm going to do this. And they ain't going to know. You just a stupid behind. Because nobody on this planet plays no one. You only play yourself, especially when you do things that you have no business. And you say things of which you have no knowledge. Not only does it record the intent, but it records also possibility, like for instance, possibility, which is brought about through, a multitude of different variables that are in place. And what I'm getting to is this. Well, those etheric light beings who vibrate up to a fixed density, those are the ones who had and still do maintain a political view. Baba told you all in the beginning of the Holy Tablets that it all started when the circle and the square came together. And then he went on to say that they started to vibrate. And through this, they experienced friction. And then they heard a sound. Bang! And produced H1 burning at 550 billion tons per second. And then the process continued, and then it exploded again, creating H2 and what you call your first planet that is now being referred to as Mercury, because it's, shot out a large piece of rubble, and then it locked itself into an orbit and then cooled, and the next thing you know, it started to revolve. And the process continues right to this day, and your holy tablets speak from the beginning of, or should I say, the birth of this solar system, the birth of this sun, and how it all came about. And not once did anyone from amongst you ever take the time to say, wait, how could two geometrical symbols do all that? That's a fact, because Baba waited and no one asked. And there's rules to this, meaning we have been given orders to only answer or to bring up after signs have been revealed that indeed it is time for them to know. And you all, like I said, in certain places in your growth got stunted. I mean, you look at our people who followed Marcus Garvey in the year, in those years. In that congregation, there was many people who, for lack of a better way to put it, they listened, and they listened well to what he as a teacher had to say. And they fully understood his portion. But in that congregation, there was also many people who listened, and in listening, didn't understand nothing, and or just a very small portion. And so, when the next portion was presented in the personage of Noble Drew Ali, they denied him. They said, wait, this Noble Drew Ali fella, he ain't the one. I'm with Marcus Garvey. Are you serious? And in that, their growth got stunted. There they still sit, listening to Marcus Garvey. You know what rhymes with that, right? Well, it wasn't that, nor did it stink. It was everything we needed for that era. But the problems of our people at that particular time was different from what they are now. Why? Because there was no crack. You see? Let me tell you something. The crack era changed a lot of things. And look at us as Nuwaubians. Let me tell you something. You want to talk in terms of compassion. Why is there not one Nuwaubian drug rehabilitation center? When indeed, drugs are a fact in our neighborhoods, in our homes, all across the land. And we are perfectionists, the very best. And I say, oh, Lord, if we the very best, that leaves a lot to be desired because the very best are slipping. What do I mean by that? You all have become intellectualized right out the ballpark. Many of you will look down your noses at the less evolved. Or the person does, is a crackhead or this or that or, a bum on the street. You act as if, you're better than him. Why? Because Dr. Malachi Z. York, you were fortunate enough to meet. And y'all won't even address those who need to be addressed and helped out of the state that they're in into a state of, of which they can be better. And then, in the day you do, you can lay claim to the ability that should be already yours, which is to win this war I'm talking about, that's spoken about in the book of Revelation, that nowhere does it say it ever ended and or what it was fought about. You hear it. In the beginning there was war in heaven. Michael and his angel fought against the dragon and his angels. You know the thing. I know all y'all read it. I ain't talking to no Christians. I ain't talking to no Muslims. But then again, I'm talking to all that. Because as long as you knew being, a being who carries color, listen, inside and there's many beings out here, let me tell you something, can look as Amorite or European as you might think. And indeed, they are just as much etheric-like beings who carry color just like you. They might have been a little confused when they chose what car they was going to drive. Because the car is chosen by, preference. You see? Preference is developed through, embrace of density and or vibration. Some resonate on the same frequencies, others don't. Well, that doesn't matter. What does matter is this. The time by which we have been acting as if we don't have good sense has come and is now overgone. We have many things to do and a very little time to get it done in. You all can talk however it is you want to talk. Well, I'm going to say this to Lord Abba and Ali. You all will not make OSOICE radio a boxing ring. You see? And that's what you want to do. And the days in which the OSOICE are addressing you, listen, those days are over. We're not going to argue no more. I'm not going to argue with a fool because to do so, what does that make me? I'm not going to sit back and argue. Me and Lord Otto got on the phone and he said to me, you are a fraud. I said, no, I'm God. I can prove it. And it'd be very, very easily, and check this out, and it'd be very difficult for you to prove that I'm not. And he said, no, it won't. I said, why? I said, how do you know? I'm in control. He said, how? I said, because you have questions you want to ask me. And all I have to do to let you know that I'm in control is to say no. I'm not answering one. He said, because you wouldn't be able to answer. I said, well, in that you would model because you would never know. And in that, I'm still in control. See? And let me tell y'all something. All the information that you all have read about Lord Abba and Ali and, the things that they've had to say, has come from Baba. Not from Jay, but at the same time came from Jay as well. Because it didn't come from Jay, came through him. Is that right, Jay? Are you on the line? Jay, are you there? I guess not. I guess they just want me to speak. Jay, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you a question, Jay.
I'm here. Go ahead. Sorry about that. He got disconnected for a minute, y'all. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, there's no such thing as luck or coincidence. That's our adversary doing what they do. It don't make no sense. It's called blockage. Don't nothing happen for absolutely no reason. I want all y'all to know that. Each of you must master the difference between looking and seeing. That's a fact. Want to know why? Because all things are relevant, meaning pertaining to the matter at hand. Well, why did it cut off right then? Because there's forces that, ain't your friend, that don't want you to know that the information did not come from Jay. Jay, did that information come from you?
No. Anything I've ever written has always been by inspiration of Baba, all the way back to the year 2004, even before I was aware that Baba was even moving my hand in the first place.
And would you say that Baba's an all-powerful being, my brother?
Indeed, without a doubt.
Okay, and let me tell you something. Have you ever seen power like that ring so clean and ring so well?
Nope, not outside of a cartoon or some type of fairy tale book.
And is this a reality? Is this shit real?
Yeah, it's real to me.
It's real because it's happening all the time. And any of y'all, let me tell you something that reads should be able to know. Because again, who amongst you can produce anything that well? I mean, really. First off, like I said, they offered me a whole bunch of money if I separated myself from the darkness. Well, guess who the darkness was? You. Meaning they didn't want me to be with anybody else but Europeans and or Amorites, Canaanites, etc. You see? And I said, I'm quite honored that you all would make me such an offer. But I said, you know what? To hell with you and the horse you rode in on, your mother and your God. And 20 days later, guess where I was? In the penitentiary. I had a 2,600 square foot loft, a S70 Volvo, and a Mercedes. And I have papers and pictures to prove it. And when I came home, everything that I owned was gone. And they said to me at that point, have you had enough? It can all be restored and more if you just enter apprentice and take the oath of secrecy. I'm like, y'all got to be kidding me. And, let me tell you something. Since then, my life has not been the same. And, yes, all of y'all saw the letter that Baba wrote me. I can't understand how there are those who will sit back and say that he, he didn't write that. Y'all are crazy. Anyone who says that that's not Baba's hand, they know. And let me tell you something else. All those brothers, y'all want to sit back and talk about how, I done spoke to the old heads and this and that and this and that. They don't know him. Yeah, they know me. My name is Little Barakat, and that's a fact. And see, the same way, when the Illuminati read the Circle and the Squares Part 1 through 3, they went through, they said, wait, who is this guy? Is he one of ours? Who sponsored him? And then they went through their record trying to find out if indeed I had ever been a part of any lodge. Well, I haven't. They said, well, no, he's not one of ours. Well, how did he learn so much? Oh, I know. He was with that York fella. You know him, the one we just sent to the pen. The one who runs his mouth too much. And they said, well, we have those records. Let's see. And they went through the record and they said, well, wait. According to this, he wasn't even there that long. How did he learn all this? Where did he learn it from? And then the other one said, wait. He is the child. So what are you talking about? Well, you know what it says, Joe. You know what the oath says. What will you do when you find the child is what Freemasons say amongst themselves. And the response is, I will protect him with my very life. Says, well, how will we know who the child is? Well, he's the one who will know all things, though he has not been taught. But they had no idea that I would be the son of the most revered 33-degree Freemason on the planet Earth. You see? And they had no idea And I would be saying, you all have to let my people go. Let me tell y'all something. You know, it's a shame. I don't know why, because I got more supporters amongst the Illuminati right now than I do my own nation. Those beings, many of those beings are reading our stuff, and they're saying, wait, what do y'all want to kill him for? He's telling the truth. Y'all need to listen to him. Well, I come to my own, but my own receiveth me not. Why? Because that's how y'all did way back then. Same shit. But, Father, am I here ready to love you and ready to give you your inheritance? You see, because, again, Nuwapu was only a science that we gave to our children. The children's science. Why? Because we needed to see who amongst you had good sense. The ability to make proper choices. How do you know it's a children's science? It's based on three things. Sound, right, reasoning. Do I do this or do I do that? That's a fact. Don't believe me. Just stop and think. Why did we give you that first? Well, let me tell you why. Though why is not a question. Because any of y'all want to know why, all you have to do is answer one question. And you will have the answer to every why you've ever asked in your entire life. Answer this. Why is why is why? Now, think about it. And I'm going to tell you this. In this life alone, took me 3 years to answer that, and it was put to me by, by the other masters who I sat with that Baba made mention of in the letter he wrote that I posted for all eyes to see. Right there in the beginning of the letter, it says, I'm happy to see that you have sat with those other masters. I'm especially happy to see that you have sat with my Native American Indian brother, who is a master as well, and he is the 5th elder on the Cedar Council, of which I am the 13th, whose name is Quadasin. Quadasin merely means quad, for, is, in. Why? Because when the prince were gathered, listen now, who do you think did the gathering? It was me, Baba, and my brother, ATUN-RE, who you call Israel, who they say is the angel of death and or Anubis, who y'all don't want to meet. They call him the hidden one. When you see him, check this out. You can't run. He's going to walk you out of your body back to where you came from. Okay? And let me tell you something. He's on the planet, no doubt. Very real. Very real. Mm-hmm. And let me tell y'all something else, too. There ain't now one of you seen him before. Now one. And I know there's over 2 million people listening to me. And y'all waiting to see where this is going? Well, you'll see. Just sit back. Be patient. Something you ain't got about as long as your fingernails. And many of your attention spans have diminished, too. Got an attention span of a fly. You know what I mean? Can barely listen to your wife. Can barely listen to you. When you talk to yourself, and don't tell me you don't, you do. You talk to yourself. If you're not, you should be. Because you ain't no different than nobody else. You. Just like me. And we all one in ways that y'all have yet to understand. But you might think you are an island and or that you sit apart. No. Let me tell you something. Even if you embrace the square's political view and or mentality, let me tell you something. You are just as confused as they are. And worse, because you have opportunity. Anytime you see that's a cipher. It's a circle, and they say 0 is the first number. No. 0 is the axis of numbers, fool. Number 1 is the first number. Do you feel me? Well, if you don't, sit back, rub a little of this sunshine on you. It feels warm. It might, heal you complete. I don't know. Maybe it might. Maybe it won't. Well, let me tell you this. 0 is not a number. Nor is the letter O a letter. It is a cipher and or circle, which means there's a secret in place. You see it in the hieroglyphics. That's something that they call part of the Egyptian mysteries. Why? Because it's only a mystery to the Egyptians, of which we are not a part. You all sit back and call yourselves, the AEO. Yeah, well, How is it that you are the most powerful intellectual group on the planet and you don't have sense enough to know to correct something that is in manifest error? And you can't tell me that Baba didn't tell you that, explain to you where the word Egyptian came from, which is Egyptos, which is what our children would call the Greeks, as they burnt up in a 120-degree temperature. Called them burnt face, which is what Egyptos means. Egyptos, Egyptos. And they would run. You see? No, we're not Egyptians. That, again, was part of Baba's alchemy, which was designed to get you all to do a divine thing. Those of you who are still mummies, meaning mentally dead, which is to rise and be able to think on your own. Yeah, I mean, you don't know father want to hold his son's hand, to cross the street all the days of his life. He wants to see you be able to do it on your own. I would love to have you sit in my lap forever, is what my father said to me. And who am I talking about? ATUN-RE. He said, but no, I got to push you off, meaning push you away from the family. Put you in a place where no one will know. Why? So that you can stand up on your own 2 feet. And meanwhile, all you brothers that was on that land with Baba, you all, and sisters too, y'all want to think y'all was special. Nah, niggas. Y'all was weak. Many of you. Not all of you, because many of you were there for different reasons. But the overall majority was there to hold tight to the hem of Baba's God in order for them to be able to be considered a Hanifa, an upright being. And let me tell you something, many of y'all, many of them, let me tell you, come from out of the street just like we all do. Most of them were dope fiends. Shot dope, did heaven. But, the Mukmanoon and the Mukmanani didn't know nothing about that. Why? Because they were behind the fence, of which Ali is a part of. He hasn't lived no adversity, not that much. If he has, where's the scars? What penitentiary you been to? Okay? Has he ever come real close to death? Has he ever starved? Well, that's where the greatest of all teachers who are sent by the Most High for our people come, from out of the mud, my brother and sister. Because that's where all the lessons are. See, I didn't go to an Ivy League school like Harvard, Princeton, or Yale. No, I went to an Ivy League school called, the School of Hard Knocks. I've been in every type of penitentiary America has to offer. There ain't nothing that America can't do to me that they ain't already done, and except for kill me, and I'm scared. If indeed I was so scared, why would I be on the net talking about the Illuminati and their mama? We're talking about the greatest killers on the planet, better than the mafia could ever be. Who do you think the Knights of Templar are? The Knights of Templar, y'all, are alchemical assassins. And the way they kill, let me tell you how they kill. They kill where it looks, where it looks natural. It's naturally occurring. What do you think they did to Matin and Muin? They say them brothers died from cancer. No, I don't think so. And or they create situations by which it looks like an accident. You're riding along the highway in a car that, drives just fine, and all of a sudden, boom, the tire blows out and you go off of the side of the bridge. And it's all in the newspaper. Man dies accidentally. And or they just outright do you. You go outside, you stick your key in the car, and boom, you exist no more. But meanwhile, my name is Quaterson, the 13th elder. And you all might say, well, the number 13, they taught the planet that number is, bad luck. And we all know better. Because they also taught you there was such thing as Santa Claus. And many of us as little children, we believed it. Yeah, no doubt. Many of y'all, I don't care what you say, were Christians, became Muslims, and were fortunate enough to, meet Baba and then figure it out. He told you right off the rip, belief ain't. And you know what rhymes with that. Why? Because belief is fake. It's be-lie-eve. That's where the word comes from. Ain't that what he said? Well, to give the lie to who? Eve. That's what be-lie means. That's what they did. They took them two words, put them together. We lie. Well, to give the lie to is what the definition read. And then it says Eve. Well, who is Eve according to you? Eve is the woman of which we talk so much about. Why? Because our children sit at her feet. I don't care what you say. They ain't looking at us, sis. They're looking at thee. Because we ain't hardly ever been home. And yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Well, you know how men are. We lose our socks. We have it real hard. Why? Because don't y'all see the God man's eyes is closed in the hieroglyphics? Well, why? Because he didn't want to see you all make a fool of yourself. He didn't want to see what has become of you all, as you do the things you do that you think don't nobody know, but we know so well, because we see you from a place you know not. What does it say? We are all part of the all, right? I can be anything I wish in all is what our affirmation says, right? Well, anything I wish as long as my wishes stay in the all. Well, that means I can be a butterfly. I can be a flower. I can be a part of your wall and or your carpet. And let me tell you something. That's where I'm looking at you from. And Bob is looking at you from there too. All you got to do is look down. You see our faces once in a while. If we so see it fit to reveal ourselves to you. And this is just basic alchemy. That's little things that I'm here to teach you. It's your inheritance. Because let me tell you something, it's the only thing that would deliver to you a particular type of power. And if you listen to what I'm saying, you see that indeed it makes sense. Because why would we give to you a technical science? That's like giving to you a Tech 9. If indeed you ain't but a little child and you can't make proper choices. Because all you're going to do is take that Tech 9 and check this out, hurt yourself or hurt somebody else that ain't got it coming. And let me tell you something. You all sit back and talk about you all want to sign. Well, Jay, Brother Jay.
Yeah, I'm here.
What does it say in the scriptures about people who want to sign?
They'll never receive one because they're looking for one.
Okay. Hey, Malik, is Malik on the line? Has the brother called in?
Which one is his number? The 540?
Yeah, has he called in? Do we have anybody in the chat room? I want to hear what they say.
Hold on. Malik, that's you, Malik?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, okay, all right.
My brother. Hey, yo, let me ask you.
How you doing?
Malik, what does it say in the scriptures about people who want to sign?
They say that an evil and adulterous nation seek it after a sign.
Y'all hear that? How many of y'all can Iqra? You know what Iqra means, right? Can read. See, you want to know why? Because if the heart ain't right, never will the eye be given an opportunity. And that's what makes it bad. You want to know why? Because you all are being given full opportunity right now. Because when you spell opportunity, it's spelled O-P-P or O-P-O-R-T-U-N-I-T-Y. Okay? Opportunity. The circle is there. That means there's a secret. Why? Because it is a cipher and it must be deciphered and or defined. Port stands for portal. You all have opportunity to go through a particular type of portal to see ATUN-RE is me. Opportunity is what it says. Well, I'm amongst you. I am the being that you all have been waiting for. I am Yahshua of 2,000 years ago, and I don't have to prove no points because, let me tell you something, the point will be proven. It's being proven right now. Because, let me tell y'all something, in a real way, you all can say what you want. You can say I'm crazy and or delusional, but they said that when I was Noah too. And I built a boat in the middle of the desert that many of you, check this out, didn't participate in. And how many nations of people do we have to remove before you all see that indeed it's not hard for us to do? You all are some good covenant-losing Negroes, meaning beings who still need to grow, but we still love you. And indeed, there are 144,000 mummies out there who will rise. You all are wrapped up in many different things: ego, stupidity, arrogance, lack of compassion, and the list goes on and on and on and on. All attributes. I don't care, what shoes you purchase out of that store. None of them shoes fit and or look good on you. Because, again, you're supposed to be the most profound organization on the planet with the most profound beings, in the ranks. But you all, many of you, have become profoundly confused. You all have forgotten what this is all about. It's about saving lives. It's about raising a people out of a condition. But what does the Quran say? Never will the condition of a people change until they themselves change their hearts. Like I told you, if the heart is not right, the eye will not be given opportunity to see. Well, and the other saying, well, if the shoe fits, wear it. And like I said, none of them shoes fit or look good on thee. Arrogance, that's not what you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be arrogant, even if you are smart. You're not supposed to be egotistical. Put your ego in your pocket and let the ego fly from your heart. Realize that without love, you have nothing. And that, how do I know? Well, because my name is Quaterson. And they want to say, well, he has a 6 ether hairstyle, right? Yeah, right. You didn't say that when you saw my picture in the Holy Tablet. Now, none of y'all said nothing out your mouth as you saw the picture of me and my hair as one of the 24 elders. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Say it out your mouth. Think it in your heart. You remember when you were there when you bought your Holy Tablets? Yes, you do. I was there. I watched you in line by the thousands at $50 a pop. No doubt. And you went on to buy, listen, the revised edition. You all sat and heard me say that I am linked through the mind meld with Baba. And there was many parts of the Holy Tablets that you all, even though you had them, were missing because you all never even seen the picture. And I'm going to be truthful with you, man. I knew be my witness. I never read it. And Baba led Jay right to it. It's for all y'all to see. Now, Jay, Brother Jay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Who led you to that picture?
Baba did.
Okay, and let me ask you another question. What does the picture show?
Of Quaterson?
Wait, I'm talking about the mind meld.
Oh, yeah, the mind meld. Yeah, Baba shows, for those who got to hold the tablets, it shows two drawings of two people with two chakras going up in the line going from the mind's eye to the mind's eye. And he also mentioned in that letter that a priest posted up not too long ago, maybe like last week, where it says the beings, Krishna spoke to him mind to mind.
You want to know why, family? Because no one does it better than us. And you all can enjoy the mind meld too, if indeed you but let yourselves. Which at this particular point, we as your elders are not sure you will do. And you might say, and why? And again, I say, well, why is why? Fool. Because again, many of you do not know. Well, because why exists in a state of is. And as a gift to you all, I'll even take you to the next level. Now that you know that why exists in a state of is as being the answer to why is why, now you got to find out, well, just what is why. And you want to know what why, you got to find out just what why is not. Because in order to know a thing, you have to first know what it is not. And you want to know what why is not? Why is not a question. Why is a complaint. Because the only time you put it in the universe is when you complaining. Many of you right down to the point that you complain and say, well, why was I even born? And shake your fist at the heavens. And in this, you have no idea what you're doing. Because life is the greatest gift that you've been given. And besides that, you signed the contract to be here. It's a fact. You chose your parents, meaning your mother and your father. You said, that's the canal that I want to come through. That's the shaft that I'll be shot through. And in that car, I can get it done. And don't fool yourself. You are now in a vehicle called a car because they have the word carnal. And they took, which is spelled C-A-R-N-A-L, and they took the N-A-L off and the word car was born. And they said this is a physical vehicle that will transport human beings or human bodies from point A to point B. Well, the body is a car. Why? Because the word carnal, its definition reads pertaining to the human body. And you can't tell me that your body is not a vehicle. And that, check this out, you are on a ride called life. Well, you're looking at this ride called life through your window, through the windows of that car called your eyes. But this is a special car. You can't get out until the ride is over. Why? There you go, complaining again. Because you signed the contract. And here go the time it is. As a child of the Most High, we never ask why. We can ask how. How will I get it done, oh heavenly fathers and mothers? When will this grand thing occur? What will this grand thing be? And where? But never do we ask why. And you might say, well, wait. Many times before, I've seen in the books about it say, well, why did God do this? Well, why is only used and becomes a question when it is used by a master? Because he's only using it to lead the congregation's minds and heart in a particular direction. And why is it a question only then? Because the master knows the answer to it before he puts it out there. So if you don't know the answer to why, then you complain, which is something that the children of the Most High don't do. And I said many times before, you're walking around talking about we are gods and goddesses. No, let me tell you, you are not a god or a goddess just because you can pay your rent. That doesn't make you a god or a goddess. That makes you a mortal who walks around with a God concept having been given to you by a God who is my Father, who is ATUN-RE. That you all, many of you, have still failed to put into effect. Why? Because if indeed you did, you could make the wind blow, and or lightning come down, and or you could put New Orleans underwater, like ATUN-RE did. And you might say, well, he did that? Yeah, he did that. Want to know why? And it's a fact, because you had many Nubian children that was being kidnapped in Atlanta. And what y'all don't know, them children were being taken to a lodge up in New Orleans and being molested and or raped and or, sodomized and murdered. And then they blamed it on a brother. And, when he got arrested, y'all saw his face on the news. He looked at like, what are y'all talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. And right now, that brother's still sitting in the pen. Why? Because they needed a scapegoat. Because they knew that the sacrificial lambs were in. You see? And on that altar, they sacrificed that brother. And he went to the penitentiary for the crimes they commit. And ain't it sort of funny that here it is, Baba is in prison right now for child molestation? Let me tell you why they gave him that charge. You want to know why they gave him that charge? And no, he didn't do it. Because that's what they are. They are child molesters, pedophiles. And what they're doing is they're making enormous revenue from adult pornography. Listen, and using that revenue to finance child pornography that is being sold on the internet and on all these different dummy websites. And they set up these different forums by which they can participate in child molestation orgies for an extreme price. And you're talking about judges, doctors, lawyers. And check this out. Yeah, I got the proof. Why? Because I'm OSOICE. And we are also nice in everything we do and everything we say. Can't you tell you've been reading? And the thing is, it's woven into the fabric of my very existence, the means by which Baba will come home. Yeah, Baba is just an ordinary guy, just like me, what you don't know, but he's a type of ordinary. Extra. Because we are rare occurrence, Ilatu Mutajessids, who come in succession, one right after another. And you don't meet beings like us every day. You don't hear the things that I said, all the time. In fact, this planet didn't hear nothing like it until the year 1970. When, which was really traveling 3-4 years behind. And when the seventh seal was opened and, Baba did what he done with such an excellence that none can compare and or, try to undo and or outdo. I don't care what you say. There's not one, nowhere, include me, who can do it better. But Baba says that I will. Now, and who's going to argue with him? You? Not me. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Is not the time you want to frustrate the angel Michael himself, because he is a raging angel. He taught me and he taught your devil. Okay? And his name alone is a statement and a question at the same time. Who dares to be like El, the Most High? Because whoever dares to be like the Most High got to deal with me first. And let me tell you, Ali, you are not like your father, who is mine. And if you want to lay claim to being my brother, prove it. You ain't never seen Baba wear leopard. Leopard, let me tell you something, is a cross between a lion and a panther. Leopard is where the word leopard comes from. And it's only worn, it is the favorite fabric of the devil. I don't care. Don't believe me. Check it out. And when have any of you seen Baba wear leopard? And you want to say, well, he's not known by the old heads. Well, get Yushay on the phone, Abdul Wali, and let him clean your clocks, because he knows me, and he will tell you what he was told to do when I lived in Nuwapo Gardens by Baba himself. And how many of you have ever been allowed into the tabernacle without filling out an application or giving passport photos or having taken a physical? How many? If there are any, their number are few, and I can lay claim to that. And if you don't believe me, call Milka, Muin's ex-wife. She'll tell you, though she may be scared to, because she's now an Eastern Star too, locked in to an oath. But, she takes an oath not to lie, but to lie if, it asked about any secrets that ain't secrets no more, because we put up, let me tell you, the OSOICE made history. Never in the history of Freemasonry has anyone ever got a hold of their books and put them out on the net for the entire world to see. And that alone is enough for them to want me dead. Don't you think so? And, what I'm going to tell you all is true right here tonight. I never prayed the prayer. Listen, oh, Father, let this cup pass by me until the other night. Listen, not in this life, but I did pray that prayer 2,000 years ago. And the part where I say, my spirit is willing, but my flesh is weak, I didn't say it because I was in fear. Why? Because fear is the exact opposite of divine love. And listen, and love is my name. You can't serve two masters, because to do so is to cheat the one while you serve the other. But I want you all to listen. That means sister and brother, to what it is I'm about to say next, which is, I prayed the prayer, not because I was in fear, but because I still had work to do. And you want to know what I had to do that you all still, to this day, know absolutely nothing about, and that's because you don't have the book of Melchizedek. You all didn't know that it was even there. Why? Because it was taken out of the book of life by those who support the square when they altered the record, which is also the reason why Baba put out a book called Let's Set the Record Straight, which we are doing right now and will continue if indeed you all let yourselves and rise out of the wrappings of ignorance, which merely means to ignore the facts. Fact, we were not called Egyptians. Listen, the Greeks were facts. This nation stands on the side of what is right and or factual. And you all know that we are not Egyptian. We are Tamaraean, meaning people of the sun, with Tamaray being our land. But still you lay claim to the AEO, when indeed it should be called the ATO, if it is all wise, right, and exact. But you all still choose the seat to sit in, called the seat of manifest error, and lay claim to being all that. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. But I do see it at the same time. Because, that's a fact. You still have not changed the name, even though you know you are not Egyptian. And they call it the Egyptian mysteries. Yeah, it's a mystery to them. They still trying to figure it out in the, communities of Egyptologists. And, they're reading our stuff too with their mouths open. Because they're saying, wait. Perhaps he knows what he's talking about. Which is the same thing you should say too. Because if I'm wrong by telling you no one will be able to get Baba out or make it to the Father except by way of me, if I'm wrong, then that means somebody else will be able to get him out. And in that I say, cool. Because at least he still comes home. And on that note, it don't matter. But if I'm right and I'm telling you that, it is through me and only me that you all will see Baba again, if I'm right and you all don't, embrace me, the question is, are you willing to take that gamble? Because if we go to Vegas and all you got is $500, which is your rent money, you mean to tell me you're going to put it down on one roll? And let me tell you something, you're gambling away the greatest and most powerful thing that we as Nubian people have ever come in contact with. Because, unless you embrace me, you'll never know. And it was never intended for me to do it by myself. The only thing that's in place here is that in the fabric of my universe, the elders have created a particular type of situation, meaning you all know that, I'm going through a divorce. I told you that Lakeisha L. Lewis is the reincarnate of Ishtar, who became Ishtar after she aligned herself with Ashtar Command in the desert on the way to Tamaray to be married to me in a time that has gone by. And she then became known as Dinah. Why? Because she had a being whose name was Demetrius, who was in love with her, and he was a peeping Tom. He used to look at her while she would bathe in the moonlight naked, and he created all these statues of her that you all now see scattered all through Greece, and called her the moon goddess Dinah. Then she became known as Sin. That's where you get the word sin from. Don't fool yourself. Sin was a being and or demon. You see, because they put together an alchemical plot by which to steal your fertility, because they say Isis is the fertility goddess. Well, no. There's no such thing. Because the god Men, is the fertility god. How do you know? Because the egg in the womb is dead. And it has no life until it is touched. And if a woman is never touched by a man, let me tell you something. She will never carry life within her. But if a man never touches a woman, he still carries life within him because the sperm is alive. And the sperm knows exactly what it's here to do. 7,777 sperm cells are ejaculated each with one ejaculation. And those sperm cells will fight through a struggle to get to that egg. And once it is fertilized, let me tell you what the egg will then do, which is neither a sperm cell or an egg anymore. Why? Because it's a new being now. It will just lodge itself into the walls and watch all my children or all the days of our life, which is what women will do right here today. Which ain't right. Why? Because the Nubian man is an endangered species. The polarities are not in their proper place. When they came out with welfare, they said farewell to the Nubian man. Baba told you all that. And meanwhile, they came out with a thing called Section 8, that everybody calls Section A, mistakenly. Why? Because the A stands for Ask Our Command. And don't fool yourself, that is a governmental agency. And when you say governmental, now you're saying govern the mental. Don't you see? And our women right today line themselves up with them beings all the time. They go up in there and they say, well, how much money do you have in your checking and savings account? Do you own any property? Yo, how many people are in the house? How many people eat? And they give up all that information willingly as a free will offering. Willingly. But meanwhile, if I come to you and say, sister, where you been? How much money you got? None of your business. I'm not even your brother no more. I'm not even your friend. Because you all have become fendimists. Defending yourselves against us. Who are your brothers, your husbands, your sons. And you think that you can manipulate the male species of this planet and or your race, and that's not right. You say, well, I never told that brother he was getting none. He just gave it to me. Why? Because he's a fool. I ain't play him. He played himself. That's what fools will do. And you all heard me say many times before, yeah, but you insinuated it, though. You implied it, though. And our brothers, let me tell y'all something. I'm getting ready to come out with a CD called ATUN-RE Speaks to the People Part 2 that will be talking directly to you. What makes you think I was going to leave y'all out? Like I told you, and my father am one. Baba has never done that. Talked about the sisters and not talked about the brothers, or talked about the brothers and not talked about the sisters. It just wasn't your turn yet. And wait till you see what I got to say to y'all. Because y'all ain't been that right either. And it's only because you've been victimized just like them, but now it's not about us first, it's about them, because like I told you, and Baba told you before, the woman came first, not the man. The womb. And many of y'all don't even know what that's about. You want to sit up and tell me you do, though. Well, let me tell you what it's about, because in the etheric realm, there is no gender. But there is masculine and feminine energy. The sun, on this side of the mirror, it pushes. The moon, which gives off a feminine energy, it pulls. That's why you have high tide and low tide, and you have a menstruation. They call it, my menstrual, my cycle. And I don't care what you say, any being that bleeds for 7 days and don't die, there's something fucking wrong. Excuse me. Because if I cut myself and I bleed for 7 days, no, if I bleed for 2 days straight, I'm going to die as a male. Now, we should let you know something, and I'm going to tell you something else, too. When this is all over, all you women will not have to go through pain in childbirth no more. Nor will you have pain in menstruation. Because when you say menstruation, you're talking about the God men administered that to this nation. Those of you who are female. And I am the deity who has been chosen. Listen, why? Because on the day that the prince were gathered and put into book form, myself, Baba, and my brother looked on after we had done that which we had did in an attempt to do something right. Because ether leaves a stain. And there was many etheric beings throughout the etheric realm who were doing things, and the stain of what it was they were doing, meaning the imagery was being left everywhere. It was a particular type of pollution, I would think, is the only way to describe it. So we gathered together, not knowing, not thinking, but we put each image on top of the other, and many different new images then began, we then began to discover as they bled through coming up from the top. You had a multi-dimensional constitution for each page. Many, many different images that had never been seen before, and though they appeared to be standing still, they were indeed moving, and we didn't know that. And in this, he had one choice, which was call on the Most High, Anu. And that's a fact. And he came and he locked each page of the book into its tri-level constitution. Why the number 3? Because it was me. It was 3 beings who started it all. And what we did is viewed the book, and Baba said, wait, y'all see this part? These beings, Elohim, because keep in mind, Elohim means these or those beings, will one day tamper with this book. And in so doing, they will cause the good to die young and evil to prosper. That's why Abel, in that story, who was the only one that didn't do no wrong, died. Because did Adam do right? No. Or who you call, listen, Cadman and or Zakar? No. Was it Eve, who you call Nichabah, who was, that was their names? No. Was it Cain? No. It was Abel, who didn't do nothing. So why did he live to be 900 and something odd years old like Methuselah? Why was he made to die? I'll tell you why, because they tampered with the record. And in that, everything else read in a way by which the good died young, and those who were righteous were made to suffer. Which is why anyone who claims righteousness right here today will be persecuted for righteous name's sake. And Baba said, wait. Don't you see? That's all wise, right, and exact. Just leave it. All we got to do is take out the part that's going to show us looking at the book, where they won't even know that, any of this is occurring. And I said, wait, what are you talking about? He said, let's just leave it like this. I said, no, are you crazy? You see what this says? This says, you go to the federal penitentiary. I got to go, check this out, to every type of penitentiary in America. I got to do state time on the East Coast, state time on the West Coast, and I got to go to the Fed. And you and I are going to say, man, you see, you suffering. That ain't no joke, man. I'm not trying to do that. And he said, yes, you are. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I'm your father. And I said, so, which I should have never said, because right then Anu spoke up. He said, your father's right. Now, your name is Quadracent. Meaning, he agreed. Because, listen, Baba, Israel, and himself agreed with allowing them to think that they had got over. Why? Because it was perfect. But, and he turned to me and he said, it must be by free will offering, no. Meaning, I can't make you go. But I'll tell you this, if you don't, I'll be disappointed in you. But if you do, I'll make you a promise right here today. I will make that blue rock planet my home. And I'll take it one step further. You will be able to sit with me. I said, wait a minute, I'll be able to sit in your class? To listen to you teach? And he said, yes. He said, in fact, you will sit by my right-hand side. I will even let you sit in my lap. I said, where do I sign? And on that note, he took it even one more step further. He said, you can take out one thing. You can do one thing you want. I said, well, I know exactly what I want to do. He said, what? I said, I want to take out the paying clause. Because I didn't think that portion of the contract was cool. That we would have to suffer to eat. To earn our food, off the sweat our brow, and only have to be able to get it by picking through thorns. And that our women would have to suffer pains in childbirth. I didn't think that was cool. So, let me tell y'all something. When this is over, and it will be over very soon, you all will not go through that no more. And it's going to be a new type of being born. Because we're going to give all the new beings born an extra sense of compassion. The women children will be born with 3 X chromosomes. And the male children will be born with 2 X chromosomes and a Y. And here's what I'm going to tell you all. Don't believe me. Check it out. Many of you sisters have your tubes tied. Well, the uterus is like a carburetor. It can be popped in and popped out. Don't forget, it is a car you drive. That's why when you hear the word reincarnation, you don't really hear what's being said, which is we are a reincarnation. We have lived many, many lives. This is not the only embodiment. And let me tell you something. There are significant reincarnates, insignificant reincarnates, and the insequential. And many are called them, few are chosen. Well, let me tell you why it says that. Because they asked me a question. Right here today, I was asked by a member of the Illuminati. I was told, I'm cool with everything you said, but I got one problem with you, Shorty. I said, what is it? He said, here it is, you so bent on saving a nation of people who don't even want to save themselves. And these are the very same beings who will watch you die, Shorty, and not even lift one finger to help you. He said, why do you do it? I said, because I choose to. And what I'm going to say to you all here tonight is the same thing. Well, many are called and few are chosen. And the only reason the few are chosen is because they choose to become sacrificial lambs too. Meaning to give of themselves something that is very important. Because right now, here's what I got to say to you all. Else, it is expedient that I leave you, because if I don't leave you, the comfort will not come. What do I mean by that? Because growth is not promoted through comfort. Growth is promoted through discomfort. And as long as I stay here running my mouth, all of y'all are going to be very, very uncomfortable. Y'all are going to keep saying the things you say and doing the things you do. And the reason I left you then would be the very same reason I leave you now, which is because you all are not ready yet. There's many things that I have to tell you, but the question is, can you bear them? Do you want to know the truth? Are you qualified? Well, I'm going to tell you this. I am ATUN-RE, Yeshua of 2,000 years ago. And what we at the OSOICE has managed to do is to put out an information that you all have never heard before. And we're not funded by the federal government, nor have we or ever will be. And the Illuminati is trying to kill me. So whatever you can spare in the way of a donation, whether it be a nickel, a dime, or even a penny, to see what it is that we will say next, and to keep me alive, because I'm running now, y'all. Check this out. And it's not a joke, it's very real. They're trying to kill me. And they will, if indeed my family does not show some support. And Baba will die in prison. All you got to do is don't believe me. Sit back and continue to be what you are. And on that note, let me tell you something. It would not be we who are the losers, because you all lose it all in that scenario. And you all lose the most valuable thing, which is your inheritance, the science of alchemy, because it dies right there with me. And the alchemy they know, they don't know. They only know basic alchemy that they express in a thing today called quantum physics. Why? Because the Greek who was taught by not Tehuti, because Tehuti in the scriptures is called Nebo, and Nebo is Merlin the magician. And if any of y'all look on Ali's page, you will see that he has a friend whose name is Merlin. Now that's an Amorite. And yes, I'm right that indeed he is Tehuti's enemy, or listen, adversary, using the science for all the wrong reasons. And just like those other beings do right here today as well. But they only got, listen, the Papi, who was the Greek, who was Tehuti's friend, only got educated, meaning he got an edited dictation. He only got a summary, meaning sum of re. Not all, because Re is our last name, or Ray. He didn't get it all. And you all have opportunity at this particular point to see and embrace something that you all, in this life, have never seen before. But your opportunity is quickly slipping away. We have a small window of opportunity, and it's only one way we're going to survive as a nation, y'all, because they got a special wonton soup set up for y'all, because many of y'all don't know nothing about alchemy and or the human anatomy and how it works. You think you do, but you don't. And what I mean by that, well, it's only because of electricity that you and I move from point A to point B. You call it being alive. And your body is 3/4 water, which conducts electricity. But did you know that when water is reduced down to its purest form, it will no longer, conduct? And let me tell y'all something. Since David Hudson discovered what is called monoatomics in the mid-'70s, he found out that the substance speeds up the vibrational frequency, moving the electrical currents through the body. It's like replacing the body's electrical wiring system that it has become outdated, compared to copper wiring with fiber optics. Moving the electrical and, the electricity through the electrical system that the more efficiently, which moves man from being man to being God, giving you the ability to do things.
Huh?
What is that? What was that? Okay, wait now. And what they did is they studied this. They said, well, wait, if this thing can turn the electrical frequency up, I wonder, can we turn it down? Better than that, I wonder, can we turn it off? And can we target a specific group of people?
It's connected to all our sisters. And it's because and something happened, something took place a long, long time ago. Well, hold on.
Jay, what are you talking to? What are you saying and who are you talking to? Anyways, Jay, are you there? I'm going to continue because I'm going to get this out. This is very important that you all understand. Let me tell you what they did. They hired certain professors in Princeton, Harvard, and Yale to study this stuff. And what they did is they found out through frequency, and the governmental agency that monitors frequency, they call the FCC. And you all hear the frequencies ring. You will hear that high-pitched ringing sound in your ear and not know what it is or knew what it was. Like, yo, you hear that sound and can't nobody else hear it? Whee! Many of us. And how many of you know what those sounds mean and or which ones are harmful or helpful? And who can you call? If indeed you experience one that's not. Nobody. Because you don't know, because the FCC will never tell you, especially if they're involved in messing with you in your home. Seeing to it that you and your wife argue and fight and your family institution is torn apart. I don't care what you say. Many of you are still living beneath the poverty line. You think it's that way by a coincidence and or luck. No. It's that way because they're making it that way. We're not fighting an enemy. Enemy is inner me, meaning your inner you that stands in the way. We are fighting an adversary, a group of beings and or being who is creating adverse situations for us. Let me tell you how they fight you. Well, the car that you drive has been running just fine. You got to pay your light bill. You jump in the car and all of a sudden the car won't start. Or you get on the highway and everything's doing fine, and next thing you know, the tire blows out. Or you pay the bill, you get home and the light still ain't on. How many of us have experienced things like that? You got to go to work. It's the day you've been late before. You got to go to work. And if you're late one more day, that is, you get fired. And meanwhile, the bus is right there. You get to the bus stop and it's pulled off. Everybody gets on, but you're the only one. Nubian after Nubian has experienced that. And you might think that these things are just naturally occurring. Well, they're not. You should know that they have a means by which to look into the future. The way you know that is because they put together those bills that show the 9/11 incident if it's folded a particular type of way, long before the incident occurred. Why? Because they're accessing the record, which is exactly what they did in reference to Bob and me. You see? And they've been messing with us, meaning all those who are significantly incarnate, for a very, very long time. Why? Because the primary objective is to catch you all while you all are in your caterpillar state before you become the butterfly. So many of those beings who are destined to be a significant asset and beneficial to this nation were caused to die mysteriously for no reason at all. Many and many more are about to die. You'll see, by disease, which comes from the word dis-ease. And if indeed you all are experiencing a rise in your stress level, then something, what I'm saying right here tonight, you all should not ignore. And let me tell you something that's happening in every Nubian home across the globe. Nubians here today are becoming more and more stressed out. Why? Because anytime you listen to a song and you say, yo, that's fat. Man, I like that one. I got to go get that. You was had right there, because on that music, on its back, its frequency, something rode. And it is the frequency that reduces water to its purest form, causing the electrical current in the body to, listen, slowly but surely, to diminish and return to its purest form, by which it will not conduct electricity. Which is why our children here today, their attention span is diminishing. Which is why more and more you and your mate are arguing. Which is why, you're finding yourself with zero tolerance. You're not able to, deal with things without exploding. I mean, before, you had a greater control of yourself, the ability to, hold your position. And you did it well. You go out right now and you tabligh, meaning go out and teach. Where before there were those many who would listen. Now, many of their attention spans are so diminished that if you talk too long, every word you say, they ignore. Because it's like, either you give it to me quick or I don't want it. And in that, they don't get nothing. Because you can't go from kindergarten to college in a second. You can't do it. It's impossible. There's a process. Okay? So, on that note, in a real way, we have a situation here. And let me tell you something. We also have a solution. Meaning the solution to how we bring Baba home, and also how to undo everything that they're doing. Because here, whether you know it or not, let me tell y'all something. We have opportunity, we here at the OSOICE, not just to get the monoatomics to you for free, but check this out, to produce the strongest monoatomics that this planet has ever seen. Why? Let me tell you why. Because monoatomics are only as good as the alchemist who produces them. And listen, this wasn't said by me. This was said by our friend at 0 Point Technology, who is the founder of 0 Point Technology. His words were as such. I said, you want to claim to be about divine love? He said, yes. I said, prove it. He said, what do you mean? I said, you're going to tell me color doesn't mean anything? No, it doesn't mean nothing to me. I said, prove it. He said, what do you mean? I said, I would like you to help me save a nation of people. I come to you on behalf of the Mansi tribe. I come to you on behalf of the Nuwapian nation. I come to you representing 2 million strong. He said, again, how can I help? I said, I want you to furnish them with monoatomics for free. He said, how many people? I said, 2 million. He said, whoa. I said, you said you was about divine love. Prove it. He said, okay, how about we start out with 10,000 at a time? He said, I'll give you enough to furnish 10,000 people, and you disperse it amongst them. And in that, I do what's mine to do. Little did I know that this being was friends with Baba for a very long time. And little did I know that he's been putting his life on the line too. And that he had been putting his life on the line right there when he said to me what he said. Well, there came a time where I tried to reach this being, couldn't reach him none at all, and been calling him, back and forth, back and forth. That is after he had sent me a decent portion, of which, by the way, I never sent Lord Abba any white powder gold. I sent him a thing called Zenergy, which is a liquid form. And he want to say that, he spoke to some people and that the thing was iridescent. They say that, real white powder gold is iridescent. And I sent some sort of powder. No man who be my witness. I sent him a liquid. Jay. Brother Jay. Brother Jay. Brother Jay, are you there? Malik, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Brother Jay, are you there?
Oh, he's on mute right now.
Jay, take the phone off of mute and say, I want to ask you something. Jay, are you there? Well, when Jay returns to the phone, he'll bear with you. As one of the two witnesses, he'll tell you that I never sent Lord Albert no powder. And I also told them all that Niecy Nash was not my wife. I told them all to take that down because my wife acted as a body double for Niecy Nash in certain situations by which she would have two events to go to and she could only attend one. They would send my wife, who was employed by Niecy Nash. I never said that Niecy Nash was my wife. And Lord Albert stepped out in front of you all and said, Niecy Nash is getting a divorce and woo. Well, yeah, he said that. Yeah. I'm on the phone. I'm handling something. I'm sorry. I paid my money to be here just like you. Now, I never said that Niecy Nash was my wife. Never said that. Not once. And I also said to take the Niecy Nash stuff down because there was a mistake made. It wasn't posted that when the Niecy Nash stuff went up, that my wife acted as her body double, which many actors have in certain situations down in Hollywood. And, there's many people who heard me say that and will gladly step forward and tell the truth of the situation. Why must they tell the truth? I'm going to tell you why. Because Ali runs right behind me and talks to everybody, whoever it is I talk to, and in some type of way tries to tarnish my character and or, any of my statements. And that's because Ali is a particular being. He's also a significant reincarnate. He's lived many, many lives before, just like Lord Abba. And because you can go look at the first name of the 200 fallen. Look at the first name. I don't need to go there because again, this is not Ali or Lord Abba bashing situation. This is a informative situation by which we here at the OSOICE are hoping that you all step forward. Because let me tell y'all something. It's happening. They wanted me. I'm destined to be in court on January 4th. That's step one to bringing Baba home. What do I mean by that? Well, my wife, whose name is Lakeisha L. Lewis, she got involved in the pornography industry and made several movies, of which, when I first married her, I did not know she was a part of. She represented herself as being a college graduate, having graduated from college, earning a degree in dental hygienics. Her and I were married, and as a result, we stayed married for 5 years or so. And there came a time we had acquired a piece of property. We was opening a bookstore here in California. A bookstore that I had envisioned to be like no other bookstore that, had ever been seen. It was going to be a bookstore / computer cafe where you could come in, get on the internet. You could sit down and read in a very, very nice and comfortable atmosphere, quite large, 2,600 square feet. We were paying $2,000 a month. And what happened was, it went well for 2 years. Baba had made it where I was supposed to have received $5,000 worth of books. I was dealing with Ray Shell. Ray Shell told me to send $500, my business license, and pictures of the building. I did so. In sending it, the next thing I know, I was told that I would get $5,000 worth of books, just send $500, and I would owe the rest. The shelves remain empty. Yeah.
Right, you got 6 minutes left on the show. I just want to let you know.
Let me just say this to you all. I've spoken here tonight, and I intend to speak again tomorrow night. I'm going to tell you all everything, meaning about all the elders that I sat with, where and how and who they are. And I'm going to explain to you all what is occurring right now, continuing on what it is I said here tonight, and no, there will not be any questions tomorrow night either. But I will speak, and you all will hear what it is I have to say, and you all be the judge of it. Just like you judge the information right here, posted in the blog here today. And I want you all to know that there are more than 20 books that have already been written with information that you all have never seen or heard before, ready to go into publish. The Nemesis File Part 3, and listen, first off, Baba doesn't want, we tried to put up the Circle and Square Part 3, and it would not be posted. And the reason being is because Baba doesn't want that book posted out on the net. Those books will eventually go out. But, again, we need help. And we need this help now. Because, in a real way, they've tried to push me out of the state of California. I have not left because they don't want me to go to court. They are becoming aggressive in so much that it's clear and obvious that I don't have very long, y'all. And if indeed you all don't embrace me, very shortly here now, I will become a memory, meaning I will be dead. Okay? Now, if indeed you are made of love and you do carry a sense of compassion, what you should be asking is how can you help? Because the question is, are my people going to just sit back and let them kill me? You see? And if indeed you do, can you live with yourself? And it's no more time to argue. I can prove everything that I say. And yes, we will bring Baba home. And yes, we will produce the monoatomics and give it to you all for free right here today. Meaning, very shortly here now, if indeed I survive. So what I want you all to do is to just think about it. And I'll speak more tomorrow. And right now I'm going to say thank you for listening. And may you all have a very pleasant evening. And go out and love like you all know that I love you. And I'll give out before I give up. Because it's not hip to quit. That's what you call a hypocrite, of which I am not of. Jay, I love you.
Yeah, I love you too.
And Malik, are you there?
Yeah.
I love you too.
Love you,
and I want you all tonight to pray your strongest prayer, because there's a lot going on that needs to be said that has not been said yet, and we're going to take the time, and we're not going to rush, and we're going to say everything. Then we will open the phone lines up and hear what you all have to say. May the Most High bless you all, and I send you my love. Hotep.
Hotep. Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming out, and we'll see y'all tomorrow night.
Xfinity Mobile is a new kind of network designed to save you money while streaming your favorite music, like that 90s Jams playlist you've played 72 times today. It combines America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE with the most Wi-Fi hotspots. Get up to 5 lines of unlimited nationwide talk and text included with your Xfinity Internet at no extra cost. All you pay for is data. Visit an Xfinity store or click now to see how much you can save with Xfinity Mobile. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity Internet service. Equipment, taxes, fees, and other charges extra. Limited to 2 lines pending Internet activation.